Oh, well, I never was there ever. I'm singing cat songs because I'm getting on the couch and accidentally disturbing our eldest cat who's cuddling an elephant teddy, and I don't want to upset her.
Aww.
Hello, you're right, you still cuddle that teddy. While we
What an angel.
continue our Doctor Who review. I'm Chris.
I'm not Chris.
And it's been a hot minute since we've recorded. It's also been a long, hot summer. Hasn't been hot girl summer, though, has it? We haven't gone anywhere in our bikinis. So.
Well, I go to work every day in my bikini, but then I get asked to leave.
And I'm mostly working from home, so I wear my bikini, but no one's seen me. Today we are talking about the on-screen, during his era, penultimate appearance of the 10th Doctor. And we're travelling back to... Sorry,
that was a mess.
Yeah. The wedding of Sarah Heynsmith. Why are we touching on this one? We've done a Sarah Jane retrospective before because it's a 10th Doctor story. It's also,
the Doctor
I believe, the last scenes that David Tennant recorded during his era as the Doctor. I think the last thing he recorded, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, was one of the audios. It was either Dead Air or The Lost Voyage. One of those were the last, thing he did as the Doctor during that era. And of course, obviously, he's come back since and popped up, but...
At the time.
During his tenure. The Tennant tenure. This is also the third crossover with Sarah Jane in the modern era.
Which ain't no bad thing.
After School Reunion and Stolen Earth, Journey's End.
Ooh, how my opinion has changed.
Yeah, it's also the Doctor's first appearance in the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Is it really?
Yeah, well, yeah, the Doctor doesn't appear in the show before this. He's mentioned quite a bit, and he's talked about, and Sarah Jane, when explaining a story to Maria or Rani, has discussed this man that she used to travel with. And he's been named, he's been called the Doctor. But the show doesn't stop every 10 minutes to go...
Ooh, look at this.
Oh, what would the Doctor do? Oh, the Doctor would have done this.
This
now, if I
reminds
was
me
with
of
the
the time
Doctor,
I was with the Doctor.
yeah, it's like he's there for a bit of exposition, re why she's where she is in her life, and then that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Which
I think is a smart decision.
Yeah, because then it does mean that when the shows cross over, which they did twice in the Sarah Jane Adventures, it's all the more rewarding because it's a nice surprise.
Yeah.
This surprise, of course, is also a sequel to Turn Left from last year, which went out summer 2008. Here we are now in October 2009, the 29th and the 30th of October 2009.
Oh my god, this is 2009?
Yeah.
We need to warn everyone. Wash your goddamn hands!
Invest in Zoom! So...
Buy all the sanitizer and toilet roll!
Get a VPN so you can watch Harley Quinn when it comes out. Anyway, another important things. This is a big deal because the last we'd seen of the Doctor was in Planet of the Dead back at Easter. We'd had another TV event in the Doctor Who universe since then, which we will be touching on in a future video. And we weren't getting more Doctor Who until November with the Waters of Mars. So... part of Tennant's last year and him doing the gambit, running around and covering all these things, animated special Dreamland and all this stuff. It's like, well, maybe he's going to turn up in one of the spin-off, and here we get it. So, The Life of Sarah Jane. Can you explain the plot of The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, Part 1, sir? Good sir, kind sir.
Right. Sarah Jane seems to be acting suspicious to... God,
Clyde, Rani, and Luke.
Luke, Clyde, and Rani.
Yeah.
And they think she's on a mission on her own, and they're like, "Oh no, we need to figure it out because we need to help her."
Yeah, because by this point she knows that she can trust us. We can get stuff done.
Yeah, and it's typical that if she were to do something on her own, she's going to need help. So they end up following her when she goes out at night one time, and they get there, and it turns out that she's on a date. She's not doing anything alien-y or journalism-y. She's just living her best life on a date with a nice-looking guy.
Yeah, namely Peter Dalton, which is such a... I don't know. It just feels like the right name for a rich white dude in London.
Yeah.
But Peter Dalton.
Yeah.
Played by the richest, whitest dude of them all, Nigel Hayes, who does a really good job in this.
He does.
He sells the part. I think you buy that these two would hit it off.
Yeah.
He's very charming. Nigel Hayes always gets asked to play the charming character, or the slightly doddering but ultimately very charming character.
What else has he been in?
Nigel Hayes for us. I mean, I don't know what you could have seen him in. I'll pull up his what's it. Passage to India. He did Coronation Street for a time. After this, though, Don't Wait Up, Chariots of Fire. He was in Chariots of Fire. Empire of the Sun. For me, I first encountered him playing himself in a production of the play What I Wrote, at the Lowry in Salford when I was like 14, 15, which is a comedy play based around Eric and Ernie's play and them trying to put it on. So you're essentially watching like an episode of the Morecambe and Wise show unfolding. And what made the production really unique is the script of this like 2-act play is the same, but will be improv'd around heavily based on each location, because they get, like the old Ernie's play segments of the Morecambe and Wise show, they would change the script of the play and gags going in and out of it based on who the guest was that joined them for that part of the tour.
Yeah.
So like Nigel Havers, when it was in Salford, it was a lot of Corrie folks. Over the course of like the 3 weeks it was up here, but like Nigel Havers did like a couple of days in the run, and that's when we happened to see it. So it was quite cool, because it was like you didn't really know who your special guest was going to be, and then you were seeing something that people who didn't go to that night wouldn't ever see, because it was based around them very specifically. I'm talking like 40 minutes of the material was catered specifically to who was joining them that day.
That's amazing.
And it's like, that is so well done.
I've just checked his filmography. I don't think I've seen anything. So
he's one of those actors. He's one of those actors he's sort of a stalwart. Like, he's been around a long time and will pop up in a lot of things. He's not a bit part guy. He's not like someone you go, oh, who's that? Who's that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Nigel Havers. Like, there he is.
He was in an episode of Downton Abbey, so I must have seen him in that.
You must have seen him. Do you know what else you've seen him in? The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith. So Peter and Mary Jane are hitting it off. Sarah Jane. Peter Parker and Mary Jane are hitting it off. Meanwhile, over in Ealing, Peter Dalton and Sarah Jane Smith are hitting it off. How well's it going?
It's going really well. I mean, they get engaged.
Yeah. He pops the question quite early on into the dating. It's like their fifth date or something,
and everyone's like, what is going on? Why are you doing this so fast? And Sarah Jane's like, well, the age we are, why wait? Which, that makes sense.
I guess.
If
it weren't for some telepathic influence.
If you know, you know. I mean, I've never dated. Well, not properly. Because I've always been with this fella right here.
It's fine. When you go and get remarried in your late 50s, you can use that excuse to get married really quickly.
Where are you?
I'll be dead.
What happened?
Just fall down a hole.
You fell down a hole?
You fell down a hole.
Where?
I don't know.
I'm going to look out for holes now.
No, it's fine. Just buy me really wide shoes so that I never step into a hole. I always step onto a hole.
It's Sideshow Bob.
Death by rake. So,
Anyway, what are we talking about?
We, the viewers, notice that there seems to be some kind of telekinetic tomfoolery going on with the ring. Some telepathic influence.
So every time that they bring up that... Oh, God, no, just remember there's a hole in my leggings. Sorry.
Apologies to anyone who listens to these instead of watching them.
Sorry about that.
Oh, God. Every time one of the team brings up a concern...
Oh, this is weird. We've checked out his house. It's completely empty.
That's creepy.
And she's
I
like...
love that.
I
love that Ronnie and Clyde go there and it's abandoned. Everything that is there is plastic wrapped and there's a mountain of post in the hallway. It's so creepy.
Because Luke gets on with him really well.
Yeah.
And so Luke's
and that scene's great. Tommy Knight and Nigel Hayes play that really well. The scene where they're sort of testing
Bonding.
Sarah Jane's magpie nature, like her journalistic sort of nature to need to know everything that's going on.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
So even Luke's like, oh, leave him alone. Can't alone just be happy.
And he's especially charmed by the idea of having a dad.
Yeah, because he was
Test
created.
tube, baby! Yeah.
That threw me off. That.
Belly buttonless, Bane baby.
Does he not have a belly button?
Doesn't have a belly button.
Oh,
He was grown. He wasn't born. He was grown.
Anyway, so Sarah Jane, she'll start looking like she's thinking about it, and then she'll go, "Oh, there's an excuse for it. He's moving out. He was redecorating.
He's got a new place, and you've been there. Yeah, loads of times." It's like,
yeah.
Ha. Okay, but it's also really sweet because even though she's serious, like seems to be under the influence of something, she's not mad at them.
Yeah.
Because she sees that they're doing it because they care.
Yeah.
And they want it to be safe and happy. She's like, I already am. Don't worry about it. Hey, getting married next week. Rani, let me distract you. You can be the maid of honour.
Your mum can do the flowers.
Mum can do the flowers. God, the scene where Geeta is basically like nosying.
Yeah. Coming
on over to find out what's going on is adorable and slightly undercut by the shit CGI alien in a package. I like that sequence. The idea that she's trying to sort of she doesn't want to reveal anything to Peter straight away.
Yeah, she doesn't want
what they do.
Yeah, she doesn't want him to know.
And at the same time, she gets a delivery of this like living alien egg that she spotted on eBay or what have you, and it's like I bought it before the person got in trouble because they didn't know what they had. But it hatches, and then it's terrible CGI thing that just like scrabbles across the ground and looks awful.
She says she buys
them. For 2009, it's really bad.
She says she buys them so she can send them home.
Yeah, well, that's the plan, but it was also before it hatches and, the person dealing with it gets attacked by an alien. Like, she doesn't think the person selling it recognised what it was, so she buys it. But you're right. Yeah, she's again. I love those little hints at the extent to what she does.
Yeah,
is quite cool. It's not just fighting the baddies we see in the stories. There's like lots of other intergalactic kind of things that she deals with.
But Sarah Jane, she doesn't want. She doesn't want to do it anymore.
She suddenly changes her mind massively, and
she tells Mr. Smith to shut off completely.
She says K9 can stay with Clyde.
Which is just heartbreaking because he's a dog.
And it's just, it's this really kind of...
And he's a good boy.
It's this wonderful sort of...
you should not give him away. It was a gift from the doctor.
It's this wonderful...
And you've been on so many adventures together. How could you just give him away?
It's this wonderful balancing act by the scriptwriter that you... what do you call it? You spend most of that first episode because nothing really happens in the first episode except for like in terms of it's a kids show. We've got to have some action, except for like chasing the box with the alien in it around the street.
Yeah,
not very much happens, but it's a really nice emotional roller coaster because you're really happy for her. It feels like it could be a story where there was no alien interference at all and it would still work.
Yeah,
and just be this exciting character development for Sarah Jane. But then you have those moments where she shuts down Mr. Smith seemingly for good. And gives K9 away, and ominously throughout that first episode, you keep hearing, none of the characters pick up on it, this wheezing sound, this like groaning, spacey sound, like in different locations. And anyone who's watched Doctor Who at all is going, "Oh, what's happening? What's happening? Is the TARDIS? What's going on? Why is it not there?" So we cut to the wedding.
Ow, what the hell?
I don't know, turn into Beaker. So we cut to the wedding, and all seems very, very lovely. And
This lady looks stunning.
Yeah, bless her. She sells this so much. Because, like with...
And so does Rani, who the actress that plays
lovely Anjali Mahindra.
She's very beautiful.
Not many people can pull off a shocking pastel pink, but she manages it.
Wait.
Shocking pink.
That was
neon pink? Highlighter pink.
Yeah, you can't have pastel and neon. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm drunk. Anyway.
Who are you? Why don't you know your colours?
So,
I'm sorry, that's just absurd. I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
So, everything's
But the Queen did get married in the 70s.
They're not going to get that.
Well, you should watch the past
Very,
episodes.
very long-term viewers of this series will get it, but everyone else could be clueless.
There's a little treat for you.
Go back and watch. God, how long ago are we talking now? It is Lantern. It was a Tennant story, I think.
I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was ages ago.
Jesus. Anyway. Everything's going fine.
No, it was Idiot's Lantern.
Oh my god, no, that's when the coronation actually happens, but I don't know. We're getting way off topic here, and Minnie's attacking the cat, making things very difficult. So everything's going well until the any objections moment, and then we get the infamously delivered Tennant version of "Stop This Wedding Now," which of course is "Stop this wedding now." Wah.
Wow, that was possibly the worst.
It wasn't an impression. I was just another. What you do it then?
Stop this wedding!
No, it says now.
Now.
That was the best impression I've ever heard of David Tennant's Doctor Who.
Yes.
And there's our cliffhanger because everything starts to fade away, and we finally learn who's been manipulating events to go this way. And of course, it is it's their third appearance. It's the biggest episode of this series. It's a story slap bang in the middle, and it's the one that's going to get everyone's attention. You bring out Sarah Jane's biggest enemy.
They're a douche.
That's not how you pronounce it. It's the Trickster.
I always want to say Taskmaster. That's really annoying.
God. Paul Mark Davis reprising the role. Sans Grask, because his Grask is free now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's the episode ends with everything being thrown in some sort of vortexy chaos, leading us into part 2, which is a nice dual plot. So the 3 planes of existence, the actual wedding, time and space that we were in, Sarah Jane, Peter, and the Trickster, and then separate from them, the Doctor, Clyde, Rani, and Luke, and K9, are in different seconds of the same minute.
Yeah.
Which is a great idea. They're all nudged just 1 second ahead of each other, so that they never exist in the same space. So they're all there, but none of them are in the same place. Even when they are, there's a bit where Sarah Jane is in the lobby of the hotel, the reception area, and they can kind of sense her.
Yeah, it's almost like ghosts walking through.
Yeah. So, what's the Trickster's plan, my lady? What does the Trickster normally do? After our Sarah Jane retrospective, you must know by now. What does the Trickster do?
He tries.
He's apparently the leader of the Pantheon of Discord.
He traps.
Which you can have access to with the Pantheon of Discord server if you become a patron.
Doesn't he? Doesn't he feed off of chaos?
He's a chaos muncher.
Obviously, he changes time so that.
Well,
for example,
he doesn't. He gets other people.
Yeah, he persuades people to change an outcome of something.
He Mephistos it. He rocks up and goes, "Oi,
you don't have to die.
Yeah,
do this instead."
Yeah.
And that's what he does to. Nigel's the actor. Peter.
Yeah.
I don't understand Wikipedia.
Well, so before we had him, a friend of Sarah Jane's who died in her school days swaps places with Sarah Jane.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that episode.
The next time he forces Sarah Jane into a situation where she meets her parents on the day that they seemingly abandoned her as a kid.
Yeah.
Which means that she inevitably is going to change things in some way. And then this time, Sarah Jane's not the methodology. It's like the first time, it's, nope, I'm going to get someone else to do this. But it's the fact that he presents himself to Peter as a guardian angel.
Yeah.
There's no temptation element. It's offering a second chance of life. And all he has to do is meet this person. Because the Trickster, I guess, picked him because it was like, he is the most likely to form a bond with her.
He's the most compatible, yeah.
Yeah. How do we know the Trickster didn't push him down the stairs? That's the thing, isn't it? He falls down the stairs, seemingly breaks his neck and dies, and then is met sort of before he passes on to whatever by the Trickster.
Yeah.
He's like, mate, I'll give you a second chance.
You're in a bit of a ruckus, aren't you?
You're a little bit of a fracas.
I will help you if you help me.
If you go on a date with this lady, you'll be alright, like.
And you give her this ring, but it's got to be this one. But I've got my grandmother's ring. No, it's got to be this one.
It's got to be this glowy one. The one that goes... Oh, I'll change that to a more sinister sound. 1 second. Ooh, and so sinister that.
Oh, that's the wrong franchise.
That'll do. It sounds like a text tone. So here's the thing. Sarah Jane's life is going to be completely... her life protecting the universe from erratic and healing is going to be completely put to a stop if she goes ahead with this marriage. Not because she'll suddenly decide to not do it anymore, but it's sort of a mix of finding that happiness and the ring keeping check of her.
Yeah.
And making sure she doesn't go back on it, which means that all of the days she's going to save, she won't be there to interfere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what he's going to live off of. He's like... And the trickster makes a point of saying, like, I'm giving you your happy ending. You get to live and be happy. And also, spoiler alert, he's dead. So if you renege on this, you've killed him. So... What's the right thing? Bye-bye! It's just like, oh no. So Sarah Jane's put in a real horrible place. Add to that the fact she's doubting whether or not any of it was real.
Yeah.
Like if there was any love between them. Because she assumes that Peter is either a conjured image or is also like under the influence of the trickster in some way. Which is so wonderful and heartbreaking at the end when we learn that, no, for him it was completely real. For him, from his point of view, he had a guardian angel who gave him a second chance at life and introduced him to the woman of his dreams. And he makes the right call in the end, because in a Pete Tyler jumping in front of the car kind of moment, they're all the Petes. All the Peters and Petes have to die.
Oh no, they're doomed.
Peter Dalton realises that the only way to get her out of this choice is if he takes back on his agreement.
Yeah.
Which means he dies, which means the events of this day don't happen the way they're meant to have happened, as far as the trickster was planning. Which leads to that really, like, defeating moment when it all resets at the end, and everyone's there, but Peter isn't, and Sarah Jane doesn't turn round for a moment, and she does, and she's just absolutely gone. It's so horrible.
It's horrid.
Liz Sladen does an amazing job in this. Considering in this, like, she's an action hero in this show. She's like doing stuff all the time. And some of the best performances she gives in this show are the ones where they make Sarah Jane sort of, they limit her to one location and we just get to see Liz act.
Like, it's her human emotions that makes it as powerful as it is.
Yeah.
Not the, oh, look at this alien, I'm going to save it.
Like, she feels betrayed, she feels like she was just a lovesick sort of child and she got swept up in it all, and then she realises what's at stake, and also that thing of, like, she can't have nice things because of who she is. Like, even here, it's not a real nice thing, and it's because it was made this way. Like, there's nothing genuine about it, really, because it's been orchestrated.
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
The trickster is a real douchebag because he's picked on three really
traumatic
powerful,
or key moments in her life.
3 really powerful relationships. Your best friend,
yeah,
your parents,
yeah,
and the love of your life.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh, just let her be happy for God's sake. Now, you absolute bastard.
I think there were plans to bring him back later, but this is his last appearance in the show, the trickster.
Good riddance.
And I've got to say, I think based on how it turned out, obviously, it wasn't. He didn't not come back because of something that was in their control. Obviously, it was a tragic thing that happened and the show stopped. But in retrospect, this sort of is a better ending for the character. I think for the trickster. I think if you did bring him back one more time, it would have to be in whatever the last story of the Sarah Jane Adventures was. Like, it has to be for the last one, we're obviously going to bring back the big bad. Do you know what I mean?
Would Sarah Jane not just be like, oh,
this man again?
You again?
So the main plot for the main plot for the viewer in terms of what takes up the screen time in episode 2 is the Doctor and the Bannerman Road gang trying to crack the case and figure it out because the TARDIS can't get through.
Because the TARDIS is
also sort of out of
in and
out
out,
of shift.
in and out. Sorry.
Clyde at one point opens the door to see that the second they exist is in a sort of limbo state. It's like they're just floating in a void of nothingness.
Yeah.
And they're all trying so hard, but what's wonderful about this is they kind of crack it. Like, the Doctor's the one with the knowledge, but it's the kids that figure out what needs to be done to save the day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In terms of getting to Sarah Jane, like, Peter's sort of the final sacrifice, the one who makes it all work out.
Yeah.
But, like, just everything, I mean, right down to the practical application of Clyde getting sort of zapped by the TARDIS a bit when it's being taken away and getting filled with Artron energy, which he then uses to his advantage to shock the trickster.
Take on the
and that Clyde being in contact with Artron energy comes into play in a future story, which we may or may not cover in this series. So
have we seen it?
No, it's one that's coming up.
Have I seen it?
You've seen it before, but you won't have had the same kind of attachment to the people in it.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Death of the Doctor.
Sorry,
it's the Death of the Doctor from Series 4 Sarah Jane Adventures, which continue, like the Artron energy, Clyde absorbing the Artron energy plays a part in that story.
Well, I don't remember that, so I'll look forward to seeing it.
You look forward to watching it now, especially because you fall in love with Jo Grant, so you get to see her again.
Oh!
Well, Jo Jones. With her grandson Santiago, a.k.a. Iron Fist.
Oh, it's him!
Yeah, Finn Jones.
Oh, yeah, from Game of Thrones. At least he was part of one good franchise.
What's really cool here as well is the Doctor facing off against the Trickster. Because it kind of feels, even though it wasn't telegraphed, kind of feels like it was always meant to happen at some point. Because the Doctor finally gives us an explanation, really, of who the Trickster is. Like, he's something very powerful from before the beginning of the universe. He's one of the old ones, the Dark Times. But he's outside of our reality now. He doesn't have the power to be in it anymore. So he's trying to find
And he's here now!
And the power... Ignore the dog. And the power that he's trying to find... The power he's siphoning is, like, the energy of all the chaos and everything that he can cause.
Yeah.
All the discord and unrest. So... He's out of existence. He's not powerful enough to cross into our plane of existence, which is why he utilises slaves or people who are blackmailed by him, like Grask and like Peter. So he's this very powerful creature that is desperate to become relevant again and corporeal. So he's a bitter villain, essentially. We've always seen him as just like, I'm having a lot of fun, this is great.
My face looks like a butthole.
I look like a bumhole with teeth. But instead it turns out that he's miserable as hell and terrified that he's never going to be free again.
Is he also lonely?
Does
that not matter, really?
The floating bumhole in the middle of a cloak does kind of put people off, I think, because of the territory.
Wow, that was an evil laugh.
I mean, I've met Paul Mark Davis who plays him, and he's a very, like, fit, trim guy. So if the Trickster's rocking some abs, like, he should probably cover his face up and just get his abs out to walk around and be like, hey, everyone, who wants to touch these abs?
Who wants to ride on the
Trickster?
I don't know, that wasn't smart or clever.
Filthy.
Sorry, I apologize.
Oh, God. Anyway. Jesus Christ. So...
Pumpkin.
But we get a few tidbits. We find out that the Doctor has been on the lookout for this. The reason why he's tied into it is because he's been looking for the Trickster. Because as he says, you messed with one of my friends. He mentions, he says, like, I dealt with one of their brigade...
Hello.
I dealt with one of their brigade recently, is what he says.
Did he? Yes.
Can you figure out... He mentions the Trickster's brigade in a certain episode. Can you remember what it was? An adversary in a recent Doctor Who story with Tennant as the Doctor, where they made someone do a different thing and change the course of time.
Hello.
It was like 5 stories ago, Boo.
I'm sorry, I'm being distracted by the dog.
That's a lie, she just arrived. Turn left.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Sorry.
The fortune teller and the time beetle, like, that was part of the Trickster's Brigade, which implies that he's got followers out there who are trying to sort of create enough chaos this way to bring him back.
Yeah, but he's not like a lone creature, is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's the only one of his kind.
Only one of his kind. You went very northern then.
Thank you.
Only one of his kind. Oh, right. Have they ever made a figure of him?
No. Sarah Jane Adventures only got
probably didn't get past the
4-figure sets.
certification board. You can't have a bomb hole on someone's face.
Well, no, they made this
That
weird
laugh
decision. They made this weird decision where they released like 4 Sarah Jane double packs. Like it was a different Sarah Jane in each pack with a monster.
Mm-hmm.
So there was General Kudlak. There was the Star Poet, the floaty butterfly.
Yeah, which you do have, yeah.
There was. I've got General Kudlak too. He's the one with the red coat with the bug head. There was the Grask.
I do not recall. Yeah, you do have it.
And there was the Baby Sladine.
Which you have as well.
Yes. I got all 4 of them. I got all 4 sets.
Oh. You got all.
But it was a bit of confused marketing. They weren't sold sort of particularly well. They weren't marketed particularly well, and they didn't sell particularly well. And I think it did sort of hurt them that every set was variant of Sarah Jane and another monster.
Yeah, Sarah Jane with a handbag.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, seriously.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying.
It was bizarre. Like, it should have been, like, especially if it was year 1, it should have been Sarah Jane, Clyde, Luke, and Maria. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you collect the whole set and you get a monster in each pack.
Because if you're a kid...
Because they did Sonic Lipstick as well. They released that as a toy.
If you're a kid that's interested in Sarah Jane Adventures, more than likely they watch Doctor Who.
Mm.
And so they'll have monsters from Doctor Who, and they would have had so much fun playing with the team and monsters from Doctor Who.
And later series would have given us like more Sarah Jane monsters, like Mr. Dread, the Men in Black from Dreamland who show up in a Sarah Jane story, and the Androvax, the chameleonic thing with the yellow lizard face. I'm saying this to you because I know you can possibly remember them.
Yes.
From so what they look like, and So the Trickster would have been ideal. I mean, Blatherine would have been bloody easy. You just released an orange version of the Sladine toy.
A what?
A Blatherine.
Blatherine.
They're in this series, the Blatherine. They're really good. Oh my god, stop doing a Brian Cox from X-Men 2 impression.
Sorry.
Blatherine! Well, the Doctor and the Trickster face off, and the Trickster gets in a couple jabs, including that the Doctor's days are numbered and the gate is waiting for you. The Doctor's like, you what, mate? And then we move on. And what's quite nice about that is we know that he will knock 4 times.
Yeah. And
we know that the gate is waiting for him. And what's really cool is the thing about the gate, which, again, you said when it happened, you're like, so that's the thing to do with later. I went, yeah, you went, I've completely forgotten what relevance that has to anything. Yeah. But when we watch End of Time, you'll be like, oh, that's cool. Because it also means that if you watch the spin-off, there's another part of the prophecy that isn't in the main show. Because that doesn't get brought up in Waters of Mars, does it? No. So...
confused.
Why are you confused? Pretty straightforward. It's like, hey, here's the mystery in the main show, but if you watch the spin-off on the kids' channel, there's an extra element to it that you won't find out in the main show. It's pretty cool. As is the wrap-up scenes where he visits, you can tell that even though he's managed to get out of there, he visits Sarah Jane in the attic because he knows it's sort of the little cheer-up she needs.
Yeah.
And you get this wonderful bit where the TARDIS... I mean, seeing the TARDIS materialise in the attic at Ealing is wonderful. And then saying, can we have a look inside? He has that fake-out moment where he goes, what? Inside the TARDIS? My TARDIS? Yeah, right, go on. And it's just like, wait, bit of a dick move.
So mean, Doctor. Bloody hell.
But it is funny. I love they go in. I love they get super excited. We get to see 3 brilliant actors do their version of the "oh my god"
it's
moment.
Bigger on the inside.
And also, I think it's one of the few times we see the fourth wall of the TARDIS, like where the camera is.
Yeah, you said that at the time.
They shoot it a certain way so that they fake seeing the entire room all the way around.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's so like the parent show didn't do that. The spin-off managed to do it, and I think it's probably because it was the last time he was shooting on this set. They must have just gone like,
that's great.
Come on, let's get this in. Joss Agnew directed this, who's done a fair amount of Sarah Jane. He did a lot of Wizard of Aliens and Young Dracula. So he knows how to direct and shoot. kids drama series and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he and the team has just been like, go on, let's get cocky, let's show the fourth wall, let's do it.
Let's break the fourth wall.
And you get that lovely bit where they say, can we go somewhere? Just like one little trip. And Sarah Jane's like, no, Luke, you've been through enough or whatever, la la la. And it says like Ronnie and Clyde. Clarny, I think, was the shipping name that was given to them. The fan name for a couple, Clarny.
I see that.
Sounds wrong. But yeah, Ronnie and Clyde, like, Sarah Jane says, and besides, you two were grounded on Earth by the Jadoon, which is a reference to the story from earlier in this, Prisoner of the Jadoon. And do you remember we had to rewind it because Tennant gives this look of like, what? Never mind. And just sort of doesn't say anything, but he obviously is like, wait, hang on. It's a nice little moment. I adore this story. Not just as a fan of the Sarah Jane Adventures. I mean, I don't think it's the strongest story this series, to be honest. What else have we got this series? We've got Prisoner of the Jadoon, The Mad Woman in the Attic. That's the best story of this series. That one's amazing. Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith. The Eternity Trap's really fun and may or may not have a Time Lord in it. Mona Lisa's Revenge is an absolute blast. Saran Jones was the Mona Lisa brought to life, and she's an absolute psychopath.
Oh my god.
She steals a Sontaran pistol from Clyde's comic book painting that's up in the museum.
Oh, there was a... Yeah.
It's so good. She's great. She just plays it as like this really brash northern murderer. It's so fun. And The Gift, which sees Imelda Staunton and... not Imelda Staunton, Miriam Margolyes and Simon Callow come back after being Dickens to play the Blathereen.
The Dickens?
Because there was sort of a recurring thing at this point of the Celine popping up in the series at least once, usually in like a gag opening or something. And then they were like, oh, we'll do the Blathereen. It's like, oh cool, this is alright. And then it turns out to be a really creepy pandemic storyline.
I wonder what that's like.
So for me, Mad Woman in the Attic is the best story of this season, but this one really makes me happy.
It makes me sad.
Why does it make you sad?
Because Sarah Jane is so sad. Because the thought of losing the love of your life on what's supposed to be the happiest day of your life is really sad. It's like the trickster is just a full-on knob.
Mm.
That's all I've got to say about it.
There's also a really nice mirroring of their original goodbye in this.
Mm.
Do you remember when she leaves in the end of Hand of Fear and she says, don't forget me. And he goes, oh, Sarah, don't you forget me. Like before she goes out and sits there with all the stuff, the TARDIS leave, and she's like, hang on, you left me in the wrong bloody place. She says, like, will I see you again? And he sort of is like, she can tell that he knows something is coming.
Yeah.
And you have this moment where he says, I think it's the other way around. I think she says, he says, don't forget me. And she says, like, no, I won't, don't you forget me. I can't remember if it's the other way around or if it's the same way around, but it's just this really nice little, that's a callback to her last appearance in the original. And it's sort of sad because obviously you as a viewer at this point, 2009, I think, in this is probably the last time we're going to see these two actors play these parts in the same scene together.
Yeah.
But we do get one tiny little moment between them again in a couple of episodes' time of Doctor Who.
It's crazy to think that the character that left her on that street, on the wrong street, lives nowhere near where she lives, is the same character that we're watching right now. It's bizarre, but we just completely accept it.
I think what sells it is Liz Sladen.
Yeah. I
mean, in their first appearance together, School Reunion, Tennant as well is a big part of why it sells, because you can see the little kid that watched her in the show.
Yeah, definitely.
Fueling the adoration for seeing her, which of course the Doctor would be delighted to have just randomly bumped into her again.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this, I think Liz Sladen always did an excellent job at selling Smith and Baker and Tennant as the same man.
Yeah.
That she first met, and hey, God bless her.
Yeah.
It's a big loss, but again, what's wonderful is these stories carry on. As we said in our Sarah Jane retrospective, we can always go back and revisit them. Have you visited The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith lately, gentle viewer? If you have, we want to know what your favourite... What's your favourite part about it? What's your favourite thing in it? Let us know in the comments. And while you're at it, let us know if you've been watching since the beginning. Now we've made that bloody Queen's marriage joke. I'm curious. How many of you have been watching since the beginning of our Doctor Who reviews? Let us know in the comments below. You shouldn't watch this stuff. It rots your brain.
Oh.
Besides, you're putting those subliminal signals that mean everybody will send us their money and chicken nuggets. Do you remember? Which is I know. Well, we started it in 2018, and then you became pescatarian, so it's your own fault, really.
I need to change the format.
We'll see you next time, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.